So we're going to start with movement and angles. Done this drill before, some of you maybe not. We're going to do clockwise, counterclockwise with the cinqueteros. Okay, so starting, listo, andam, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Closing out a 1, 2, ending in 3. Here. The importance of this drill starts with the footwork. We're looking at changing angles first by shifting. Okay, so just changing which foot is forward, but also changing the direction that goes with it. Was facing this way, now facing this way. Now, as we move to the back, there's a different shift that takes place here. Okay. The whole drill mixes those two particular footwork specifically. So, angle 1, shifting in place 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2. Okay. If you look, can I borrow your stick? Thank you. If you look, all of the footwork exists right here. I step out. As I switch, I'm out. As I come to the back, out, switching out. Okay. So all that footwork is living on this one line. Everything right there. Thank you, sir. That's it. Clockwise, counterclockwise, para cinqueteros. Yeah? Is there a shot? All right. Thank you.
All right. Look, step, swing. Or strike, rather. Step, strike. Kind of? Yeah.
That's it. Here's the other thing. If you can do, when we do these types of drills together, a huge benefit to that is trying to actually time with each other and move as one. Let me switch with you and let me do that. Thank you, sir. So everybody up. And I'll just kind of jump right in here with you. Okay. So when we do these kind of drills together, I mean, you are your own person, you strike your own way, you do your own things, but there is a benefit to learning to do things as a group, in unison. It forces you to stay aware of what's around you and not get lost in your own head, but to be aware, have awareness. It also forces you to build the small skills of being able to make tiny adjustments to what you're doing. Speed up, slow down, on command based on observations. This is a combative principle at work. So when we're together, I'll go ahead and lead it right now, and I want you to work with me. Try to match my speed. If I'm moving, you're moving. If I'm stopped, you're stopped. Does that make sense? If my stick is moving, your stick is moving. If my stick has stopped, your stick has stopped. Try to match. If I'm striking faster than you, match it. If I'm striking slower, match it. Try to learn to make those adjustments. In a minute, Mr. Joel will do that, and you'll match his time. Okay? So, listo, clockwise, counterclockwise, para cinqueteros. Okay, andam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Closing 1, 2. Okay. Step up the challenge with it. So now I'm not going to count. Pay attention, not only to my movement, but hear the floor, right? You can hear when people move. Ideally, your sweet bat-like sonar can identify which direction that movement's coming from. So if I'm to Will's right and he hears a lean moving to the left, he needs to know, disregard that. The thing that I'm trying to match is to my right. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. So we do it together. Sorry, this is me. I'll do my push-ups in a minute. I'm thinking about you, so here we go. Very good. Okay, listo. All right, take a knee. So the next drill that we're going to do is we're going to work it off of the metronome, okay? Off of a count. So I don't have clave, typically we do this clave, so I'll use these, okay? So 2 sounds that you're going to hear, a listo, okay? That means come to a listo, right? And then the beat itself. Okay? Listen for that because that's telling you your timing. First beat, begin your movement. Second beat, your movement should be done. Okay? If you're ending your movement prior to that time, then you need to slow down. If you're ending your movement after that or you're having to cut it short, then you're not moving fast enough. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Try to match and fit that timing. We ready to try?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Are we not starting with you want us to go from a list?
so the first movement will be andam.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go, and that's your listo. All right, so Eddie's, relax, and here we go,
Damn it. Okay, got it.
and very good. Okay. Now try to pay attention to the timing. So I think most of you are matching the time of the thing, right? But beginning too soon, beginning before the count. So wait for that count. This is begin, this is end, right? So if you're already in movement when this comes, you started too soon, right? Keep in mind that this is an analog. This is a proxy. I'm telling you to create movement at a time, okay? This could very easily be, you've decided, right? That first hit, I've decided to act, I'm acting now. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay, so you've got to put that time into place. But don't act too soon, don't act too late. Act as soon as it's time, as fast as necessary. Okay? And here we go. Very good. Excellent. 4 people. Perfect. Okay, so starting here, come in a little bit. And you're here. All right. So first we're going to start with the idea of targeting. Okay. So your position is here. And you use the strikes. I'm going to aim for the targets. That's where I'm going to start with. Okay. My goal is to move and have good form. Okay. It doesn't matter how fast I do it. Doesn't matter how slow I do it. It matters that I have good form when I do it. Okay, so coming into andam, coming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Close. Listo. Yes? We've done this before, so we'll go through, we'll rotate, and we'll kind of do this drill here. All right. So here is the footwork detail that I want to add. Okay, so as we do this, one thing that's really easy to want to do is to step this way.
Hey.
Nice straight line in this thing. We're always cutting an angle, always. Okay, so as I step, I want to step here. Okay, so here, she's to the center. If I look at my footwork as this, borrow your stick. Borrow your stick. Borrow your stick. This action, right? 2 triangles. Okay, female triangle, male triangle. As I step, I want to step on this triangle. Notice that she is on the tip of the diamond. Does that make sense? Okay, so when I do this, I want to think of that. I want to think of coming out here and hitting this space. She's in line with my back foot, but my front foot is not in line with either of us. Okay, here, here. This is the beginning of the idea of being off the line, right? Moving my center and taking her center. Same time happens by angling this space. That triangle, that's its job. So sometimes when we move, we want to think about this, but it's never that. It's here, I'm moving around you. As I step, I'm moving around you always. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I never want to be in the place that I just was, unless I choose to. All right, so let's try that again. We'll add in that little detail for the footwork. Okay, so we're going to continue the drill into another direction, working into some other kinds of drills. Okay, so this one starts to bring in the idea of the footwork matching with visualization. So now instead of striking angle 1, angle 2, I'm going to visualize being struck angle 1, angle 2. Okay, tying in that combative element internally. So this one, because of that, I'm not going to start with an andam, I'm going to start right here, okay? Not a neutral position, but we'll call it a neutral position, all right? So, listo. This will be sagang sagawas para cincoteros clockwise, counterclockwise, okay? So, meeting it, parrying from the outside being the defensive method that I'm going to use. So here I picture angle 1, here, switching, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then I close as normal. Okay, does that make sense? So in this case, my footwork went from being a V kalakang avante to a V kalakang literata. Instead of stepping forward with the side, I'm going to step back and meet with this angle. Stepping back, always coming to the center. Always coming to the center. We call this home. I'm just coming home. Okay. Then I come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, listo. Want to try that?
Sir.
All right, let's give it a shot. We're going to work the same drill, okay? And we're going to work it with the machete. Because control. Okay?
Sir.
I not only expect control, this should define that control should exist. Okay? So what we just did is we did sagang sagawas para cincoteros. So defending of, parrying of the outside of the cincoteros in order in this case. Okay? So what's going to happen is each person, I'm going to start here, she's going to go angle 1, he's going to go angle 2, angle 3. I've got to marry my footwork with what they're doing, and I've got to parry appropriately. But I also need to make sure that I'm having good control. I'm targeting the hand, but I want to make sure that I'm also managing my distance well, managing my footwork well, okay? So we do this. All right, and from here. Good. And andam. So everybody pull to andam, and we start here. Three. Okay. And then I close. Okay, so let's go that one more time. You're in the lucky spot. Because as it goes around, she gets 1 and 5, right? You get what, probably 2 and 4?
4 and 2.
Yeah, 4 and 2, 2 and 4. Doubles back up. You get 3 both times. Okay? But that's part of the drill is also to kind of build that awareness of paying attention, right? Of knowing what's happening and having decisions already made prior to. And so we go again. So let's add a detail. The detail is when andam comes, go ahead and andam to the strike that you plan on doing. Okay? So that you're already in that. So you'll andam to 1, etc., right? Okay? And andam. And begin. And one more time, okay? So, additional details. First, if you expect control of me, provide control of yourself, okay? So if you come through, then I have to match that speed in order to get to it, right? Which means that my amount of control has to diminish in order to do that. I feel strongly capable that I can do that for you, but you're about to do it with each other, not me, okay? So mind that. So we're feeding, we're not just going to hit each other, we're feeding, right? I feed this strike and she defends it. The other thing is, this goes especially to you right now, I'm over here. Hit me, right? Target me. There, I point out you specifically because you're in the spot that's the hardest. You strike angle 5. I defend this, then you strike angle 1. Well, when I defended, right, if you just do 1 and then 5 and then 1, then if you stay where you were, I'm no longer there. Right. So your next angle 1 needs to be where I am. Otherwise, you train me with a scar of going, well, they'll just hit next to me instead of hit me, right? Does that make sense? So we have to feed accurately for each other with some realistic intent. I have to have a realistic distance. I have a realistic target so that we can learn that we have to get out of the way. Yeah? Okay. And andam. And no. And very good. We begin? You get to go first. Okay. Let me borrow that. So the thing that helps when you get stuck with the footwork, especially initially, right? Combatively, eventually, your footwork is anything it needs to be to do the job, right? But right now, we're training the skill so we can build certain things that maybe work better so that anything equals prioritized things, yeah? So the thing that makes a difference, andam, please, is this home position. Figuring out which foot steps back and where it goes is based on here, okay? So as I'm here, there's my space. Okay, as my feet come in, it's easier for me to decide which foot should move back because my feet, I wanted to thrust so bad. So it's easier for me to decide when I'm here, when I'm neutral, throw anything you want. Okay? It's easier for me to decide what should move based on what he's doing if I'm in a neutral place. Right? Later, a more advanced skill is always being able to manage that in a non-neutral place. Right? But that's a big part of what we're practicing. The skill that we're developing is the ability to quickly switch my feet to wherever they need to be. And that comes from this home position. My ability to move comes from there. We'll change angle. You get to go first. Andam. Everybody andam. And begin whenever. Oh. 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 Okay. When I do this, I'm not thinking about my feet. I'm thinking about the distance that exists between me and you and the things that you're doing, because that's critical. But that only is happening because I have done this drill and drills like it over and over and over again. Okay? My feet do the right thing because I've told them repeatedly what thing to do when in doubt. Right? Your lizard brain has to figure that out because the computer brain is not always firing that way. Right? So we got to program the lizard brain to go, oh, I like this thing the most. Okay? All right. Let's change though. Moment. So we went with control. Now we take away control. Okay, and I'm going to add a counter. So I'm going to defend and I'm going to counter and then I'm going to move on. Okay. I don't care what the counter is right now. I don't want you to think that hard. We're kind of into semi-dessert zone. Hitting people is definitely a dessert. So, okay. So starting here, target is still the hand. Okay. And buno.
That's bullshit. Nobody got the rest of it.
All right, and let's do it again. So just because you can hit more does not mean we need to go super fast. Ready? So here we go. Boom, boom. Oh. And closing. Okay? As you go on, head on a swivel. I have to assume that everybody will do their part in order correctly. But it doesn't actually matter, because if you're here and it should be her and he goes to hit me and I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, that's skill manifesting, right? So that's what we want. So the more the drill becomes rough, the more skill is starting to show. And plus it's fun. All right, so we're gonna just do, as we often do, a little bit of dessert, and we're gonna do some disarms in that case. So let's look at, we've worked this one a little bit recently, and I kind of want to continue it so that we can just build that skill. So we're gonna work off of angle 1, but I'm not working angle 1, I'm actually working off of angle 2. So when he comes here, I send this, okay, so that he has to come back. Okay, so defending Sagong, he's returning this too. I'm going to accelerate this. I'm going to give him a reason to come back. Okay, so normally we do this whole thing where we go here and then he'd come here and I keep this space. Now I want to close this space. Okay, so I stay in. I send his arm away. I soak up the difference. Make sense? Okay, so again, here, here, circle, out, hit. Okay, so sending. And again. Maybe? We'll go slow, we'll do at least one slow time. Okay, so passing and sending. I'm staying in this space so that as he comes in, I can drop this hand and circle up. Okay? Ideally, I want this straight arm to happen because that's where the disarm is. The more his arm stays bent, the harder it is to do that. If I'm here and I'm doing this and his arm is bent, he's got a lot more ability to resist. Probably not going to get it. He's got a lot more ability to fight. So I want to create space. He comes here. Whoa. That's what I'm looking for, okay? I'm not specifically worried if he's really tight-fisted and I get here, that's on him. Because I'll just keep this and I'll make him think about letting go instead. Okay? So let's play with that. Pass angle 1, soak up the space, and then defend. Okay? All right, let's try that. For categorically, this is a snake disarm. Okay, snake creeps up the vine kind of situation. Okay, not to be confused with the vine itself. Here, here, this is the vine, right? So snake disarm. All right. Yeah, so take here, face your palm to you. Sorry, right here, and then cut it down. That's it. Okay, so it's not done with your hand, it's done with the blade of your hand.
Push here. And then, should it be this? What's driving that? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And as you do it, hold that.
Oh,
I'll hold that.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
So as you do that, right, you're here, this comes back. Okay? So even if I'm in here, I want to slide to the wrist. Okay, palm in, chop down. Okay. So, go again. 1, 2, that's it. This, I want that pull that straightens that out. Okay, now I could do this with my hand, but the structure is not as good as coming here. Right? So my wrist doesn't want to bend that way. So the hand has some flex to it. If you resist, my hand has some flex. If I'm in this position here, go, hey, we'll just do this. Okay, if I'm in here, My wrist doesn't have as much movement to bend here, so this is a little bit easier. Okay, you feel that tension beginning to build. If I think it might not go, my turn. Play with that. You want to create more space. That part you want to actually space out so that you get more angle to the hand. Yes.
Then from here, it's just kind of drive the stick that way. It's going
Okay,
to
just
flop out of the ball.
straighten your arm.
Whoa! See.
There it is.